Hey there, it's Vickie Howell. I am here to show you how to install the zipper on one of my favorite patterns from the new Northern Lights collection from Yarnspirations.com. It's the Frostbite Cowl, and I know that sometimes zippers can be a little intimidating for people, but this one has been made so easily that I hope that it won't detract from anyone making this project because it's really fun and fast. I made one myself just last night, like in just one evening. So definitely worthwhile picking up, especially if you need some quick gifts for the upcoming holidays. I made mine in a taupe color. I'm still using the Bernat Wool Up yarn, the new yarn, which I love, and I'm actually using kind of a contrast color, or definitely a contrast color zipper. I wanted neon, couldn't find it, so I went lime green. And so the first thing that you need to do is just make dots with a fabric marker. Really, you could use a pencil too, but a fabric marker will disappear either on its own or with water, depending on which one you get. And then you're going to pin it along the right side of one of the cowl ends. This is made to be a little bit funkier, you know, and have that exposed zipper look. So it'll be on the outside. And that way you can also see the holes that you just made. So you're going to make them every ½ inch so there's two ways you can go about it. So you can do it every ½ inch or 1.5 centimeter intervals, which is what the pattern calls for. And then you will use a length of the Bernat Wool Up yarn, and you can see how thick it is. You absolutely can do that, and it looks beautiful. Another option, and it's one that I went ahead and did just because the needle I had on hand worked better with that, because you want to make sure that you have a super pointy needle, but it also needs to have a really big eye, but not so big that you're going to have a tough time pulling it through the zipper. You know, you have to play around with that just a bit. So you can use a thinner yarn in a similar color or contrast color if you want to go a step further. This one is just Peyton's Classic Wool and worsted, and I happened to have it laying around and it was in the same color. But you have both options. You could also, a third choice would be to separate the plies of this one because it's a 2-ply yarn, but I will caution you that then it becomes a roving yarn and you'd have to really baby it to get it through. But any of those options would work. You could also use thread, but it just wouldn't look as kind of cool and fibery. So I've got it set up. I already got us started here, but all I'm going to do, let me see if I can adjust this camera a bit so you can see a little bit better, is I'm going to use the holes as my guide. So you can barely see this one, but we're just whip stitching, which is just taking the yarn and literally whipping around the project. So I see my next hole, I'm going to come up through that and pull it. Now, because I chose to go with a thinner yarn for this, I'm also going to sew just a bit closer together than what's called for in the particular pattern. Again, both will work. This is totally preference. So I'm going to do another one in between the two holes. These are just guides, and this is not something, like, unless it bothers you, this is not something that needs to be perfect. It's supposed to have this really cool kind of embroidered look. And so you're just going to do that all the way up the sides. And then I've only have it, let me see if I can move this for you. I've got it zipped together. You can unzip it. Well, first I would pin this side, the opposite side, just to make sure that it's even, and you can unzip it if it's easier, and then you're going to sew the other side, and you will have a really cool funky cowl with a detail that you don't see in your everyday cowl. It's really cool and a great design by my buddy Julia over at Yarnspirations.com. All right, hope that helps.